Welcome back to the channel and to the home of the Stormers here in Cape Town. I'm Tim and this is Egg Chasers, and this is mad. Can I just say thank you so much for watching, for liking, subscribing, because that's why I'm here, and as you're about to see, why I'm about to meet someone that I've been wanting to track down for months, and it has finally happened. If you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you'll know this is a big deal and a big moment. Genuinely, and I don't mean to offend you when I say this, Dobbo, but Deon, it's not just South Africans that were captivated by your story. So before I ask from your perspective, Dobbo, just talk about this man.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, you know. We got him here. I never coached him when he was here the first time here before he went to France. And somebody said Deon Fourie's interesting coming back. I was like, what a waste of money, you know what I mean? I did. I said because I got
pennies.
It was cost. Yeah, we got that. I'll be very quick now. We win the URC. He gets his man of the match in the final.
Yeah.
He gets the trophy. He gets named as in the Springbok team that day. I thought, jeepers, that's what a story. You know, he could write a book on it by himself. And then, of course, as we get into, it goes to a level that we thought was unimaginable. But you know, it's a cultural superhero like that. Because now I'm good off the field. He's great. I just love the guys who get the project. You know, absolutely 1,000% committed on the field, and really invested off the field, but still professional. I mean, I thought that. When he came off against La Rochelle in that last 16 game, I thought, yeah, that's probably the natural end. You know, he's a World Cup winner. It's a hell of a horrible injury in ACL, and he just told me, I'm not ending my career in a golf cart. So hopefully we can keep him another couple of years playing a bit. He's been, if somebody epitomizes, or there's probably two or three to be fair, but epitomize the Stormers sort of rebuild. Him, Brocky, you know, and probably Damien Willems or something, but he's just epitomized. He's the ultimate Stormer.
And it was outside. I was at the World Cup final, Deon, and it was outside in the bars afterwards when I was chatting with a bunch of Springbok fans, and it was one of them that just pointed out he was captain on the field at the full-time whistle.
I don't even know that. I didn't realise that as well.
Yeah.
I think when Wayne Barnes came over to me in that right-hand corner before that line-out and he said, "Hey, Deon, you captain now, listen, I was like, I was struggling to breathe at that moment because I was so tired and stuff, but that's only when I realised I was captain. I didn't think I will be. It was funny, that morning of the World Cup, they bring in some of the senior players and they discuss the ref and whatever, and Jock phoned me and said, listen, can you just sit in the meeting as well? So I think it was out in the universe that's going to happen, so I didn't, because I haven't been in that meeting the whole World Cup, and then just miraculously, I was there that morning before the...
I'll jump back into the rugby, but I'm going to have to give you your proper introduction because everyone in these parts know you as Brannas. For anyone, and I know in South Africa people understand the story, but for people around the world, just fill us in.
It's the best recovery drink you can get. if you're above 35, it's the best recovery drink you can have after the game. No, I'm just joking. It came from 2007 when we won the Western Province Under-21 tournament in Bloemfontein, and Rassie and Jock was still coaching the Cheetahs back then, and they were contracted to come to Western Province for the next year Super Rugby. And then we won the tournament, and then we only flew back on the Sunday afternoon. So as any 21-year-old waking up in the hotel, bit of a hangover, you just thought...
I was going to say, you missed a few hours out there.
Yeah,
you probably can't remember it by the Saturday
night. But that Sunday morning you wake up and then, we're only flying at 6 at night, so what are we going to do the whole day in Bloemfontein? So we sat down at the bar in the hotel and we started celebrating again, and then got to the airport, bought like 6 slippers in cola. As I walked out of the shop, I walked into Rassie and Jock, and I was like, hello coach, now he's on the same flight as me as well. And that Tuesday we had Super Rugby fitness tests at Newlands. And Rassie and Jock just walked past me and he's like, that Brannas was lekker, eh? And then since then they started calling me Brannas.
Dobbo, what's the thing with South Africa and brandy? In the UK, it's like a little drink that older men have in a big thing at the end of a night, just one before bed. Here it's 11 o'clock. I was at Loftus for the Island test. 11 a.m, banging it back.
No, look, I'm the wrong guy to ask because I'm a Soti, I'm an Englishman. But that's a big part of I was at the Calvinia Vleisfees, which is up about 300 km north of here on the weekend, and it was one of the sponsors was Castle. I reckon if they sold 6 Castles the whole day, it was a lot. It was just everybody standing with a dark glass. It's just brandy and Coke, and there's like it starts looking like Coke. Right? There's like starts to look like tea as the day goes on. It gets lighter and lighter. It's a big part of our.
It becomes a double Coke and brandy.
And to that end, what's it like? I mean, but both this is Stormers and South Africa in your case, Deon. What's it like to play for and in front of that crowd? Because I was there in Johannesburg at the weekend, and they're wild.
Yeah, no, I was there as well. I was fortunate enough to go watch the game as well at Alice Park. Yeah, I think just the environment that you get yourself before a game as well. I was on the train with all the supporters as well. I think it's just
in a disguise? In a disguise?
No, unfortunately not. No, took me a while to get to the stadium, but I think just riding in the bus, just thinking back with the box as well. I think to see all walks of life, for all religion, everyone just walking together, and you get proud of the Rainbow Nation we are, and then it just fuels you for that game.
I'm going to reciprocate here because Deon Dobbo's got a pretty special story, hasn't he, as well? We've got a guy here who, double masters, author, started a rugby magazine and some websites which are still in existence today, founded and started them, all whilst playing, coaching at elite levels. What makes him special?
Still searching for that answer.
Enjoy the number 20. You're going to wear a lot of warming up behind the poles during the first.
I think just to be honest, I think just his human relationship to the players. He's a great coach, great manager, great guy just to speak and to be open up about. I think for me coming back, at this age, you needed a purpose, because while you're still playing at this age, and then came back to the Stormers, and Dobbo just installed this purpose that this group has to do for Cape Town, not just for the team, but for everyone out there, and that fuels me as well, and he just sees the whole picture, not just the team and everyone around it. So yeah, credit to Dobbo for reigniting my career when I came back, for giving me a purpose, not just a personal purpose or purpose to provide for your family, but for the people out there as well.
In terms of, Deon just mentioned the whole picture, and that's what I think of when I look at you. I'm like, what a lot of interesting things going on there. Do you try and get that rounded character from your players? How do you encourage that? Because obviously you have to be really focused on your rugby, but...
Yeah, look, there's a big piece in South Africa. You know what made me so... I'm pleased your Brannas was there on Saturday. I promised you that we won the World Cup in 1995, and it was similar. The Boeing flew over during the anthem, which I thought maybe, hopefully missed time because I was a little bit rude. But the crowd just looked so. It would look very different to 1995. And there was a big thing around the anthem. For years, I mean, and I grew up with the old anthem. You would hear as the Afrikaans, but the whole noise and the volume, and you would agree here that's changed. There's no decibel change between the old parts of the anthem. And so we're playing, and I know it's cliche, but it's true. Just to see what that crowd looked like on Saturday. It's so important for this country. I mean, our big thing is we've got one of probably the highest Gini coefficients in the world. The people are paying just let alone test tickets, 250 rand to watch the Stormers. I reckon 90% of our fans are making big sacrifices for that. So I'm not I'd like them to be well rounded. I try and tell them about the US, but they just switch off. I mean, they can't last 4 minutes in a meeting. But joking, obviously I'm joking about that. Yeah. But understanding what we can do in this country and this city, and the reason why this city is different is that rugby is so popular amongst this area around here, the Cape Flats. We're probably the one area or province in South Africa where football, rugby sort of fighting as an enclave that exists from the past, and they're trying their best to improve it. Rugby is the sport of the Cape amongst the really poor areas as well. So that's what when Deon says about playing for Cape Town. So that bit, and if you've got a Y that's maybe a little bit bigger than your car, or your paycheck, or your initials on your boots, I think it's a powerful thing for performance, and it's good for us to realize the responsibility. Like sometimes you get invited, and it happens probably far more to him. He's a World Cup winner, to go and talk at some primary school on a Thursday night. Your wife says you're going out. You say, look, you can't really choose. You know, we're here to make Cape Town smart. Oh, why I'm going. You know, and it's a big piece of this team. And to be fair to look, he's one of the big drivers of it. But I think the team get it. You know, I really do think we get our. So it's also a privilege because I mean, you know, if we. I won't say myself, but it may be myself. But I know one of the other players, like Scarra, but I'm not going to name him. You know, if you have had a few beers too many, and you can't get one of these services to drive you home, he phones the flying squad and say, "Hi, it's whatever his name is, Scarra. Please come fetch me." Because rugby's so big in this region, and that's what's important for. No, I mean, I didn't mean like arrogant, like we got privileges. It's just our. It's a privilege. It's a pleasure. It's isn't it?
No, I think the great story is you told us once is that he knows one of the police commissioners in one of the Cape Flats area, and he told Dobbo like if the Stormers win, the gender-based violence for that night or that weekend drops significantly.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
What, but like privilege and responsibility at that?
Yeah, it's a massive privilege. But I mean, the guy's absolutely factual. I mean, he shows you the numbers, and because you're not prepared to chase a kick, then some lady's going to pay for it. I've been really naughty, because it's wrong. It's wrong on every level.
Yeah.
The extrapolation's wrong, but Deon's right.
Right, I want to pick your brains on Coach Rassie. You come with your perspective as a fellow coach, and obviously as someone who's known him since man and boy, basically. What is his superpower?
Yeah, Deon's with.
Yeah, I think just for him to read players and the room and the environment at the moment. I remember at one stage in the World Cup, like I'm laying in my room and I'm thinking about something like, why is that happening? And then literally the next day, next meeting, he'll talk about the exact same thing I was just thinking about. And I was like, he said, "Is my room bugged or what?" So how does he know that? But that's just how he's in tune with everyone, the environment and stuff, that he can pick stuff up that isn't there. Like I think if you saw Chasing the Sun after the Ireland game, I only saw probably 5 minutes on Chasing the Sun, but that thing was 45 minutes long, and it wasn't about how we played or whatever, but was things.
You're talking about when it was Dwayne and Eben and shut in a room, come out when it's sorted. Yeah,
we mostly spoke about stuff off field, our attitude, how we. It's not alright. It's a privilege for us to be there, and there's a whole lot of guys on the fringe of being in the squad, and you acting this. I'm just going to elaborate, but everyone's sitting in South Africa. So so you just picked up on small stuff, and I think in professional game these days, those small margins, even if it's just mentally, that can win tests and games, and that's important. I mean, we end the winning game, unfortunately.
Same question. What's special about Rassie Erasmus?
Look, he gave me my job, my first job here, and I think it's based on the fact that I replied to an email with some detail. But he's a genius. I've never seen a rugby mind. I know he's bright tactically and everything, the way he works out these plans. But Deon's right. He's he sums up. This player won't go. You'll say to me, "Why are you choosing him?" Because he's not going to go to a dark place for you to fight. He just thinks like on a level. He's a genius. He doesn't sleep much. I think because he's just thinking about everything. I could produce. I'm surprised on the shelves one of his manuals for a Currie Cup game. The game plan, the logistics. He's extraordinary the way he thinks, and he's got, he's Afrikaans, so we don't think he's got the gift of and it's not the gift of the game because it's more meaningful than that. He's got amazing EQ. I think, and understanding where people like Deon says where people are. I mean, he used to come in and we had the coach's office, the little junior office there, and we would say, "Listen, we want to keep." I'm now using a random Darby's name on it. We want to sign him. He's the best under 21. He says, "Chap, that guy's never going to hurt us." You know what I mean? No matter how good he is, he's going to go there. He's not ever going to come back and hurt you. And it's quite a lot of things. It's just really bright stuff. We didn't want to lose who we thought was our best player, and Rassie had an amazing perspective and character.
Yeah, he's always said he doesn't choose the best players for his squad. He's choosing the right players for his squad or his team. So that's his motto. I'd say his motto is probably, but he's always said that we're not selecting the best team. We're selecting the right guys.
So he's obviously someone when you go around. I'm in the UK. That's someone that everyone knows and deeply respects. And the new name on the radar, Sasha. Sasha FM, Sasha FM, my favourite radio station.
I tell you something irritating. It was on an Irish podcast last week. It was very good. They said, "How do you pronounce it?" They asked me the question because they were massacring it before I was on. So his dad had said to me, you pronounce it if you don't use the M and N, Gomazulu. So I told them that, and then somebody wrote an article in this magazine on some website now, South African website. Because I said drop the M and N, which is quite culturally rude. But I literally was trying to explain to them how to pronounce it. So anyway, that's right. It's an aside.
I mean, obviously a Bishop's boy. I was taken to Bishop's on my way here. I thought
You're very lucky. They bring you here.
Yeah.
Oh,
but at what point was he on your radar? Bearing in mind he was from your old school.
I've got no claim to Sasha in terms of coaching, very limited, but from grade, I used to call it 7-9, grade 11, I went there quite a bit. I used to help coach the under 16s and stuff. I just saw this kid who could spin a ball like a top on one finger and spin it and do it exactly the same back. And that is freakish. And you watched him play. So no, from grade 7-9, grade 11, 2 years out of the end of school. An uncanny resemblance to Damien Willemse then for us. So they're a bit different now, but this weird obviously the high skill level to what attracts us, draws us in, but then the professionalism, the work ethic. The first Currie Cup game, actually wasn't a Currie Cup, it was a Toyota Challenge game, was against the Cheetahs in Bloem. And we took him up more for a lot, just to see what he's like. And he made 22 tackles at fly-off. And I mean, there's no defence system in the Western world. I mean, they're making 2 or 3, 22. It just shows how committed he is. So, but from school, we knew you were special. To be honest, I didn't think this special. I didn't. We had him in the Stormers sort of bench, and I feel a bit sheepish. Especially we get 10 minutes against Connacht. I playing 80 against the All Blacks.
And how do you rate this kid?
Very down to earth. I can remember just before the box came together, I was still rehabbing and stuff. In the physio room now, I have to put the game ready on. I have to walk at the back. There's an ice machine. I'll get, and he said, you said I'll get. So he's down to earth, very humble, clever. I think everyone saw that video when he spoke when he was under 13. All the coaches. So great head on his shoulders and down to earth. I think that's one big key ingredient. If you for him, what he is, he's got it. But rise to fame now. In the setup and stuff, but I think he'll definitely. Funny enough, I was sitting at a Spock in one of the sponsors' boxes, and we had kicked that 60-meter goal. I turned to Ak behind me and said, if he kicks this over, he's going to play under test. This will make it. And then he did it, and it was. And he's still got 5 meters in that as well. Special talent, special guy.
You've already mentioned Damien Willemse. How are you going to accommodate and get the best out of Willemse, Sasha, Feinberg, Gomazulu and Marnie Lebok? Do you just put the number 10, 12 and 15 in a bowl and then pull out a number?
Doesn't have to lose.
Yes, there's a problem because I was going to worry Kalanja, we think super. Is a great rugby player.
Suleiman? He's
going to charge as well. He's going to charge. Look, I think the joke I'll make is hopefully one of them is injured, but I don't really hope that. But I don't think it's a challenge because I don't think, if you'd said to me 3 or 4 months ago around the World Cup when Brannas at the World Cup, we would let, Marnie was the outstanding in the whole South African rugby. They talk about world rugby.
Yeah.
They were talking about him, that kick against Scotland and, if I'd said 6 months ago we're going to drop Marnie, I'd be executed, and now I reckon if I dropped him because the hype is so pro Sasha, people wouldn't. But Marnie's still got a lot to offer, so that's going to be a challenge. Why I said Damien and Sasha a little bit different is Damien will play wing for us. He'll play flank for us. It's just who Damien is. It's nice and and probably sometimes maybe to his own detriment. I think it's nice now that he's probably one of the world's best fullbacks, which is useful because he was in danger getting messed around. Whereas the tricky part is Sasha makes it clear he wants to play 10. And he's actually not doing Los Brannas. Egotistically, he just wants, that's where he thinks his position is. So it's going to be a hell of a challenge. Yeah.
well, that's going to drive some standards. But it's just this is another story. So I was in South Africa recently. First visit I went to Craven Week. I went and sort of
I heard you did, yeah.
Yeah, sampled a bit of the. I went to Affy's and visited there and Maritzburg College, and I was blown away by the production line that there is, the factory, and there must be so much talent that you see that could be Sasha levels that doesn't make it. You've already talked about the margins being so small. The amount of talent this country produces, is
and especially, maybe arrogant, this region, it's incredible. It just look. I really don't want to sound arrogant, but we probably got half or at least 8 of the top 20 rugby schools in South Africa in this, within 30-40 k's of here, less. And the the locks there that would come out if they were in maybe I don't want I'm not trying to be Wales or Ireland.
Yeah.
Be playing for them in 2 years' time. And it's actually been a poor thing of South African rugby that we haven't coached well enough or managed well enough, because we know that we just choose the next bloke. Whereas if he was an Australian, they'd coach him because they can't afford to they can't afford to lose that player.
If you're happy to send a few props to England for a few years, I'll take him, please.
But you go and watch Parboys versus Jim and that inter-schools in front of 20. It's extraordinary. And the talent that we've got coming through. I mean, we play the Currie Cup now. We've sort of played youngsters. Only 3 guys were writing matric, not even a year ago.
Could have been my son.
Yeah.
I could have played with my son.
Yeah. 3 guys. I mean, at school last year, playing Currie Cup rugby this year, and just naturally. Crazy.
Yeah, not even to latch on that. Not even talking about all the big schools. I think if you look at, I'm not saying small schools, but smaller schools like, not against you, but like Milnerton High School, that Bishops as well.
Yeah.
Some quality players there that play Craven Week as well. I know the ones.
I hear, what is it? I hear Petersburg.
Yeah.
Is it? I hear that was awesome. That's produced some players.
Only 2, me and Victor Matfield. That's us. But I know Durbanville High School, where I live as well. There's a centre. We contract with him now as well. Great players. But so that's to Latin Adobo. So it's not just we're fortunate enough with all the big schools with great players, but outside of that, there's also amazing.
And to your point about the change, it was noticeable when I've been watching that transformation's coming through in the younger age group.
Yeah, that's for me. It's the best thing. That I don't want to sound like I'm trying to generalise or pigeonhole people, but New Zealand rugby largely changed, and Australian, with the inclusion of the Pacific Islanders. Once they realised, those guys literally broke down the door, didn't they? Johnny Loman, all those guys. No, maybe we had to wear the pain of some so-called quota system or targets or whatever we called 10, 15 years ago. But now South African rugby embraces that. And we've almost got that equivalent now of these X-factor players are now being brought into proper schools, because I still think the challenge here is very, very, very few kids are from non-Model C. So we have private schools, which are entirely private, and then you have that sort of hybrid, I don't know if they're still called Model C, but they were traditionally Model C, where the governing, the parents sort of put some money in. So they're more or less established old white, if you like, who were white schools with a government body raising money, and all the Springboks. I think Liesel is an exception. There are a couple of exceptions, but it's not more than a couple. And so those kids are now, instead of being at a secondary school or really a school based in a township, because the rugby are getting into the big schools and now becoming Springboks, and it's giving us an X factor. But suddenly we're not just relying on a power game, that we've got this real, like the Stormers play, the ability for transitions, the Kirtley Aronses and that. It's a massive amount of work that these schools are doing to give these kids, I know they're doing it to try and win this, for the season to go well. I think the next evolution is that we get into the poorer schools. That those kids are big, but just that we've embraced that so well has helped our rugby. I think I haven't sat in a meeting at any level, national level. I thought I'd go to many of national level coaches where guys have talked ever about now needing to have X amount of players of colour in the team. We made so much progress. We did. The Stormers team. I'll be honest with you. A few years ago, I used to count. At the end before I put the team in, send it off to the old president, I used to count. No, we don't even look because I know we're going to be.
Happens automatically.
Yeah, there's no, and it's a much improvement. Look, there's still areas and teams that can do better, but that school system is incredible for that for us now. A great college, which is a really central of South Africa, not a big black way, virtually only black rugby. It's a delightfully transformed team. Griqualand West from Kimberley's, I think it's minority white now. It's unheard of even 3 or 5 years ago. So It's going in a nice
Equally
direction.
amazing, and as an Englishman, terrifying. The South Africa could get even better.
Because
Yeah.
how you beat us for so long in those dark days of, when Clive Woodward was because you could stop our power game. You know, I think the English rugby powers, but not quite what I think he bought. But now with us with X Factor, it's more difficult.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to move this on just broader South Africa for a second, because I'm visiting here and I've only been once before. It's my first time on the Cape, but it doesn't have to be the Cape, it can be anywhere. People in the UK tend to know Kruger and Cape Town, that's it. Where should I go, or where should we go?
Down in Cape Town or in the country?
Well, anywhere. Where's like a hidden gem that like none of us, we don't know about, wouldn't have heard of, but it's just spot on.
California. Northern Cape somewhere. Up in the West Coast, I think you can never go wrong if you drive up in the West Coast. It's another scenery, especially with the weather like this now.
Can you see? A winter's day in Cape Town, I get sunburned. Spot the life from Manchester.
I was up in the West Coast.
If you want this,
Northern, all those small little towns right next to the ocean, next to the boulders. It's beautiful. It's just close by.
Deon does a lot of mushrooms, so he likes the wilderness, the garden route.
Deon, well, we need to talk.
I think I'm transposing, but he's right. Stark, the West Coast, or the garden route is lekker.
Yeah, but you said the Kruger. I grew up in the bushveld, so it's always nice for me to go to. I always go to Hoedspruit and be there on the game reserves there. It's where I found my inner peace a bit as well, and sitting in the back of a Land Cruiser and just drive through the bush and see the animals. That's always peaceful for me. So,
and we've got a big game as we record this. South Africa, New Zealand. The second match here in Cape Town is coming up. Your dad, Dobbo, wrote a book specifically about that rivalry.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What did you absorb from him and added to what you've already seen?
It was our source of, because my dad was obviously from a different era. He never missed a game at Newlands from 1949 until 2020. So he saw the Test series in 1949 when Oki Geffen scored 5 penalties for us to win 15-11 in the rain. They slept for 2 nights outside to get closer, to get into the ground, to get tickets. And we were so proud that up until reunification, we know the wrongs of the past. That's not conceded. It's obvious. We had the better win ratio, and obviously we've taken a lot of shots since then. I think we certainly won more than the 37 box. Were the best team ever to lose. They said ever to leave New Zealand, and it was our great series win. And then Zinzan Cameron got the drop goal. Yeah, in '96 it is. My dad's book was called The Rugby's Greatest Rivalry. And for now, it's nice to see us clawing back. I think they've got ahead. They obviously went in the early Tri-Nations days, and we were struggling to adapt. They got quite a bit ahead of us. But I think this team of the from when, since you won the World Cup and that, this is generationally in my lifetime the best Springbok team, we think. And our opportunity is to try and do what the All Blacks did. What is that period? 2008 to 15 or
11, or 9, 15.
Exactly.
That Springbok 7-09 team was amazing, but after that,
but we have the player where Rassie done so well. We're not falling off a cliff after. We haven't done it after 2019, didn't after 23. If you look who's going to play in 27, we're not going to fall off a cliff again. It'd be nice, because when the All Blacks when they run, and not that I take the rankings that seriously, they were like 10 points clear, and I want us to get. We must try and have that same era, because we've never had this. It doesn't want to sound arrogant, but that's general. I can't remember when I feel that the Springboks have been so good. So I don't know what you feel, but
100%. I think it's what Rassie and them built from when they took over in 2018. That they have to build a factory, a streamline of players that are coming through, and it was unfortunate after 2019 through the COVID years there wasn't a lot of games and time to get that depth, but I think like we spoke in depth now, like the amount of players coming through from a young age, I think it will just, if you keep that winning, like I said, we're in the winning game, and if you win you get confidence, and then when you get confidence you can give young oaks more shots, and then give young oaks a shot.
And on that rivalry, I'm just trying to work out in my head, because of your Springbok career, the World Cup final wasn't the first time you played New Zealand?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, it was my first game against New Zealand.
Against New...
Yeah, in the final. Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah, played against them. That was S19 in 2005. But in New Zealand. But yeah, that's my first game against.
Wow.
New
So
Zealand. Yeah, it was everything.
One for one.
Yeah, 1 for
100%.
Yeah. So first time facing the haka as well. I think it was a big thing. Not a big thing, but it was something as a schoolboy. Watching rugby, you always think, how would it be to stand in front of the haka or to play against them? And I was lucky enough to get that opportunity.
You weren't expecting at the time that you'd be getting your tracksuit off in a couple of minutes, though, did you?
Not at all. No. The plan was that I will sit on the bench for 80 minutes because I had that shoulder injury, and we went for 7-1. So it's a massive gamble. I spoke to Rassie, or me and Rassie had a quick conversation during the warm up. Listen, it's not sure how we're going to manage the bench. And I was just like, go win the game. I'll sit 80 minutes on the bench. I don't mind. So yeah, that wasn't part of the plan. So yeah, 3 minutes in, plan was gone.
Can you describe that moment in your head? Then, I mean, you'd only be human if there. You wouldn't be human if there weren't nerves or doubt.
Yeah.
What
I think I was a bit like a deer in the headlights. I was, because you don't know what to expect. Everything happens so fast. Like I said, 3 minutes. I haven't even zipped up my tracksuit yet, so it happens so fast. You can't sit and think about it. You just have to go and do the job now, and you have to stick it out for 77 minutes.
I'm going to rattle through a few other things. A new URC season is a few weeks off. That competition is bubbling nicely now. I'll admit, I was a little bit cynical when the South African teams joined. I wasn't 100% sure, but the rivalries that are building and the level of competition, especially towards the top, it's immense.
Yeah, I think this. I mean, I've got to probably analyse what we just talked about the Springboks. That Super Rugby. I used to watch every game just a couple of years ago, just because you see what they're doing at the breakdown. And now it's tougher to watch. I don't think that without us being there. And this is in a funny way. I think has supported South African rugby. Obviously, we got top players being paid overseas, which is useful. And Rassie's got that policy, of selecting overseas, which was what the previous coach didn't have. But the way our DNA, we want long scrum sets, South Africans do, and we want big mauling things, and that's what we're getting in Europe, both in the URC, if you against Munster, or Glasgow, the best maul in the tournament. So that's our DNA, we were always exposed. He played a lot of Super Rugby. I coached only 1 year, but Wellington on a Friday night, and there's ball, it's like basketball, it's like ice hockey, the ball's gone. But now we engage in the rugby, that our DNA, which is probably helping the national cause as well. These guys are playing, a couple of guys in Japan.
Well, you're still playing them in the Rugby Championship as well, so you're getting both.
Yeah. And I think for our rugby and the level of the URC, also I thought, I don't think any of us would concede to watching the Celtic League that much in the old days, watching Ospreys, Dragons on a Friday night. And now it just feels like it's a really, as you say, I think you're spot on, a bubbling, growing tournament, a Glasgow game, a Munster game, a Leinster game, it's proper club, it's high level. And also being part of the, I think we're a little bit off the European one still. We've got to get that piece right.
That's what I was going to ask, because for me, again, growing up, those were the pinnacle of club rugby, was watching those big Champions Cup games. And that takes time to build. And it doesn't feel, understandably, that the South African fans understand what we feel about that competition. But it'll get there.
I think it was URC, it took 2 years. They did an outstanding job. We saw that last final out in 2 hours and 30 minutes. The Munster when we lost. So, and the guys suddenly know what an Osprey. I don't know if it's a bird, I think, but they know what an Osprey is now in terms of rugby. I don't know why we're lagging a bit. I think there's obviously challenges inherently inside the Heineken or the Investec to get that format right. And that will help us. We're not there yet because I think we're still learning. So we played one game. I think Deon played. In the first year of the Champions Cup, so URC 2, we played Exeter away, we had our pants pulled down, but we got back to Cape Town with a team that had played, that kids, Deon, everybody, and Munster were already waiting for us here, So to be smarter around, I'm not saying play B teams, just the depth of squad that you can leave a Deon and a Kitsy wait here to have Munster. We've got those learnings to do. And you are right, our fans need to, but that format, I think, it's just a little bit challenging. I think the old, I don't know how we get there, but the one you talking about was home and away, wasn't it? A pool
of four,
home and away, top one. I don't know how they do it, but that's what's needed, I think.
Yeah. Well, what do you think of when you come up against? La Rochelle visited here, and you've had some of the big guns.
Yeah.
you played in France as well, so you understand what the rugby there is like.
Yeah, I think they fortunately have big squads because they've got big budgets. I think, especially at the French club. So it's easy for them to rest players and to wait players. Like Leinster as well. Most of the Irish players in Leinster haven't even played 4 URC games, but when it's Champions Cup, they play their games and they throw in everything in the Champions Cup game because they can afford it.
Yeah.
Because how the contract system is structured in Ireland and stuff. So for them it's easy. For us it's still like it's a learning curve, and I think it's a trust thing as well. I think like I said, you have to win, and then everyone is happy. So you have to put that trust in guys to go win that URC game because we're resting other guys to win the Champions Cup game.
Yeah.
So, but
it's a relentless schedule, isn't it?
If they don't win that URC game, then the media starts thinking, Dobber mad, why doesn't he keep it? So it's to find that the juggle between managing the players and don't say you don't have trust and faith in players, but
it was true.
It's difficult to put trust and faith in it for the guys to just go out and do it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I'm hoping it comes over time because, like I say, seeing the way the URC's developed and seeing the way the Champions Cup seems to be sliding a bit. I hope, for me personally, I hope that changes. I've got a few little quick fire questions because we're in like got a lovely library going on here.
We're clever rugby players.
Nobody's touched it. There's a lot of dust here.
So I've picked out a few book titles just as inspiration for a question. So where is it? It's in the Great Games. Great Games is the name of a book there. So one game that stands out in your mind, the specialty. It could be any level, any time.
No, I think that final against the Bulls in 2022 when we won the first URC, because we started 98-1 outsiders, so I think the winner was pretty cool.
No, you're joking?
No, I'm not joking. 98-1
Wow, I did not know that. Yeah. And Deon, I mean, do I?
Yeah.
Well,
I've got there's
Peter's
a couple of a lot of games to go through, almost 360.
And many more to hopefully we can have this conversation again.
But they were mentioning that game, but I think it's probably obvious as well. I think the final, World Cup final, I think a dream as a kid to play for the Box in the first place, and then get the opportunity to play in the World Cup, and then to play in the final as well, and then go and win it as well. So I think that always stick in the back of my mind.
And I mean, you don't need to go into too much detail or as much as you feel comfortable. What was the night? I was just thinking back to the first question about your story, Brannas. What was the post-match like?
It was long. I think that whole week. I think from the final whistle until the week after that, because we played at 9 o'clock. Only get the hotel 2-3 o'clock, and then you have a Kontiki and fines, and then you see it 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I have to go to bed for an hour. What? Funny story. My wife was there as well, so got to bed at 6, 7. I can't remember, and then I slept, and she woke up like 10 o'clock and said, "No, she's going up for breakfast." And I said, "No, I'm going to lie in a bit. I'm still too tired after the game." And then when she got to the reception, she sent me a text like, "Listen, everyone is still down here at reception." I'm like, I sent back, "How do they manage it? Now I'm 36. How do you?" I was like, "Oh, no, I'm just like 2 minutes." I was just like, "Okay, on my way." So I got
deep breath.
Yeah, deep breath. Same clothes. Got to reception. Then you just carry on. Then you had the awards night that evening, and then next day you fly back, and then the whole flight is a party. And then you land here. Then we went on the bus, a trophy tour on the bus to all the towns. So every night so I'd say that week was probably a long blur, but amazing blur. Yeah.
Amazing. Right, next book was in this section, and it was Lone Survivor. If you were stranded in the bush with one person from rugby, who would you want as your wingman out in the bush?
I like coach. We're a really tight coaching group. There's a guy called Davy Snowman, who's the guy I coached with for 15 years. So if I said anybody else, it'd be like saying you're going to go to Mauritius and not taking your wife. You know what I mean? It's not me.
First one sprang to mind. The way you can laugh at this one, but Andre Smith plays with us.
Really?
He's just
a lekker.
He's just a lekker. It's funny always. He's rough, and I'll just keep you company as well, and he'll catch bugs and eat it with you. So he always jokes, say, why don't you never invite me to your house because your wife says I swear too much in front of the kids.
He's a great character.
He's a great character.
There's a music quiz book up there. So like, who's in charge of the music at Stormers or with the box, Deon? And can you stand the music these youngsters play?
Here with us is Ruan. It's mostly in our change rooms, and at the box it was Franco Mostert was on the.
Do you have a good taste?
Yeah, he had a broad spectrum of everyone's music. After 23 years old, nothing below that. But then you get into weird music.
The problem is if Joseph Dweber gets it, a lot of people die. There's a lot of bang die. I can't even use some of the words, but a lot of people are dying.
Do you have a playlist when you're on the bus on the way or anything?
Yeah, I mostly just listen to one Afrikaans band now, Spoegwolf.
They're good, eh?
Yeah, they're a good band.
You'll have to spell that because I can't.
Go Google them up.
I'll go check them out. Yeah. And Strength Basics was there in the Sports Science and Medicine section. Strongest oak that you've played with?
Yes, strongest oak. For me, you get gym strong and you get natural strength strong. Natural strength, Dwayne Vermeulen he's not the biggest, doesn't bench the most, but explosive cleans and stuff, and just on the field, natural strength. Him and Skalkberg, I think. If you see Skalkberg in the gym, take a photo because you won't see it again. But yeah, put that oak, get that oak across the white line, and he's a different beast. So those two oaks.
There's some specimens these days, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a crazy sport now. I was holding a tackle bag for a wing, Zas. Like I was wearing these shoes, but like trainers, but holding it. He had to literally lie on the ground and come into the thing. I think the first thing that hit the ground was back of my head. It's just a wing on a tackle bag. It's an unimaginable sport from 20, 30 years ago. Yeah. Because in those days, you knew where the fat guys were, you could run around them, the wing. These guys it's a brutal sport now.
I cannot thank you enough for your time.
We enjoyed it.
Is there anything else you could dob each other in here? You could stitch each other up. Is there any question I should ask Deon or Deon? Any question?
I know the one if he's clever, what he's going to ask about me now about the other night. But,
I'll tell you what. Why don't we go with that first? And then, you've already incriminated yourself. Tell us about the other night.
I'm not telling the story about that. I've got the evidence of it, but I'm not.
I feel like there's an exclusive coming on here. No.
It actually was Andre Smith that started the craze. Yeah. Andre pierced his ear in a bar in Paris after we beat Stade Francais this year. And they thought it'd be funny if I pierced my ear the other night, which I did do. Still sore.
But not any earring, like a long peacock feather with an earring.
With blood coming down. No, it was poor. Coaches are meant to see it. You don't want to see your school teachers dance. You want to see your coach with a pierced ear, blood coming down.
And anything else people should know, or a question I should ask Deon?
No, the first time I ever met him, we're in Amanus Main Road. I don't know what happened that night, but something did happen.
Back of Yolanda with a bottle of champagne.
Yeah, a bottle of champagne. And, some locals and. John. No, it's probably.
That sounds like a story for one of your future books.
Yeah, very much. Deon would, if I was to write I'm going to write another book, something like Deon would feature, because, I promise you that the future of rugby is actually in the past. We've got the values that something like this guy's got. He's not the only guy. There are young guys with him as well, like Gaza. We understand that if you don't love each other enough to have a Fanta or a beer after a hard week's training and hang around and tease each other and not everything's on what, then that's where I tell you that's where trophy, because we're going to reach the same level with analysis. We're going to reach it with S&C, aren't we? We're going to reach it with the same level with all the stats we can generate. We're going to with just the physiques, the body comp. But we won't reach, that's where the differentiator is. Guys understand how close
I love that. The future of rugby is in the past.
100%.
No, you can tell you.
But I promise you, that's why I heard rumours, I know the truth. We're going to, internationally, they're going to tour. Because a tour, you get to know, the Lions tour was terrible because of COVID, but All Blacks coming here for a tour. If I could do my best thing with the Stormers, would go be on not these vanilla week tours, we just play match, a Wednesday game, a day off, a day to go and drink out at I don't know which brewery we can go and finish, go and see the Ring of Kerry, all that stuff. That's where the future, because that's how the guys get to know each other. And Yeah, we're dealing with a very hard generation.
We've got a guy here that understands old school
I
values.
think it's a really important. Like I said, I'm part of the old. That's where you learn not just a guy on a rugby level, but outside of rugby as well. Like what ticks him, what makes him angry and stuff, and then you create that bond. And then when you're in this 69th minute in a game, and you have to get around a corner, and this oak is on a one-on-one, and you have to help him, you have a connection with Oak, and you're gonna try even harder to help your teammate, because you don't know him just on a rugby level, you know him as a person. And I think that's always been important for me as well. I am almost 38, but to create that bonds in a squad it's massive. If you're only going to be professional, I'm not going to in the 74th minute. I'm like,
Dobbo, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
you've had great fun. We enjoyed it.
Really
Thanks,
appreciate
Rach.
it. Deon,
Thanks,
thanks so much.
Yeah, awesome.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
And people should like and subscribe, right?
Must. It's the best show it's ever been.
Yeah.
I'll cut there.